All right, let's start with a big story that we are tracking on Wion this hour, where Maldives has started to vote as the country is holding its third multi-party presidential election. Now, over 250,000 people are eligible to cast their votes for the next president to be elected. Now, incumbent President Abdulla Yameen is in fact seeking a second term in the Indian Ocean archipelago. Yameen had campaigned on a promise to boost the economy in a Chinese-backed infrastructure drive. However, his government has locked up scores of popular leaders who backed him in the 2013 polls, including his half-brother, former President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom, who had ruled the country for well over 30 years. Now, the election is being seen as a clear referendum on whether democracy will survive in the country, as President Abdulla Yameen has in fact rolled back many of the democratic freedoms that had been introduced in the island nation. Now, Yameen's only contender is long-time lawmaker and joint opposition candidate Ibrahim Mohammed Saleh. Now, the police have raided the main campaign office of Ibrahim Mohammed Saleh on the eve of elections. Now, the move is a clear sign of the government's crackdown against the opposition, which has raised fears that the polls may in fact be rigged in favor of President Yameen's Progressive Party of Maldives. All right, now for more on this, we are joined in by Mr. Fayaz Ismail, who is a member of parliament and who is from the Maldivian Democratic Party. Thank you very much indeed for joining us from Male. Let me begin by asking you this. Now, voting has in fact begun in Maldives, but just on the eve of the elections, that is yesterday night, we are given to understand that there was a raid on the opposition parties. What exactly was all this about?
First of all, thank you for having me. What we believe happened last night was an attempt to get at all of our data, basically. It was a ridiculous claim by the police that there was bribery issues going on at the campaign office. And they came into the premises without any warrant or court order, continued to hold the campaign office hostage for nearly 4 or 5 hours before they produced a warrant to search the place. And end of the day, there was nothing, obviously, that they could find there. Okay. What we believe is that it was an attempt to get at all of our data and disrupt today's go-out vote process, basically.
All right. Now, the allegation that the government is, of course, leveled, they are saying that the reason why they had to carry out a raid of this nature was to ensure that no bribes were being given out to voters on the eve of the elections. Do you think that this is just another attempt at mudslinging on the part of the government to try and crush the opposition?
Oh, well, you see, whatever allegations the government is making is what they are doing, basically. In the whole country, a small population of 400,000 people knows this very well. For Yameen, what he needs to do is just put something on paper. He doesn't need any facts to back it up, because the police and MNDF has historically supported him. However, what we feel is that even this has backfired on him. The whole country's thinking and emotions are very high in this election, because people have seen so much misery, so much injustice, cruelty, and outright blatant hypocrisy that people are very, very much tired of this government. And what the people wanted in 2008, a democratic government to govern ourselves. This has all been rolled back, as you said earlier. Right. And whatever the government is trying to do is backfiring on them, and it has in fact evoked more support for us, what they did last night at the eve of the election.
All right. And also, Mr. Ismail, one of the big controversies in the lead up to the elections was this possible change in the manner in which the votes will be counted. Now, the election commissioner yesterday has again come forth and said that there is no change in the votes, in the manner in which the votes will be counted. But why is this such a big concern, and why is this leading to fears that the election could be rigged?
Well, fortunately, the framers of our constitution had I believe, foreseen this particular situation. They have very clearly stated in the Constitution how the vote should be counted and published. It says that it has to be counted in front of the candidates' representatives and observers, and each vote has to be shown to the observers, and then manually it has to be signed off, or the results, and pasted wherever the ballot box is.
Okay.
Now, as you know, the current commissioner was an activist of this government until he was appointed as the commissioner. And all the officials in charge of all the ballot boxes, we have found out, are actually PPM or the ruling party's activists until 2 months back. So, from past experience, there is no room to trust any of these independent institutions in this country, unfortunately. So the fear has been there, and what they were trying to do, the training manuals which we got hold of, clearly stated otherwise than what is provided in law. So however, we have managed to highlight this issue and got the commission to, at least on paper, recant that position. We will only know what happens when the vote counting starts.
All right, that will be a very crucial part, once the vote counting starts, as to what will be the mechanism and what will be the procedure that will be employed. But let me also ask you in terms of the voter turnout. Now, voting has begun in Maldives. It is a small population, like you said. Out of a total of 400,000 people, 250,000 people are eligible to cast their votes. What is the kind of voter turnout that you're expecting?
Well, to be specific, it's 262,135 eligible voters this time, with 472 ballot boxes across the country. Historically, the presidential elections, especially since our new constitution, has been quite high at 85 percentage points.
All right.
We believe that this will bring in at least the voter turnout will be at 90 or above.
Okay, and also, Mr. Ismail, considering, over the last few months, there has been a clear persecution of the opposition, the media has been muzzled, and Maldives is voting today. Now, you're also a member of the opposition in the parliament in Maldives, but do you consider that this election will be a free and a fair election?
No, not at all. This can never be a free and fair election, in the sense that the lead up to the election has been unfair. We have not been, none of the parties has been able to field their candidates of choice. All of our leaders are in jail. The media has been muzzled. The parliament has been basically invalidated. The Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, is in jail. So this can never ever be a free and fair election. What we have seen is that the people are against this government, and the people are ready to face this. So they are coming out to vote. If at all they are able to put in their vote and it is counted, there's no doubt that Yameen will be ousted. Consistently throughout last 2 to 3 years, our polling and our direct interaction with the people, Yameen has not been able to reach more than 28% of the polls, and it has been quite constant throughout. So if that happens, if people are allowed to vote, and if the vote is counted, there is no doubt that how the results would be. Now, what we fear is that, as President Yameen has been very clearly saying, that he will never accept defeat. And that is the kind of projection that he has made to the people, that somehow he will make sure that he stays on, that either by hook or crook, beg, borrow or steal, as per his own words. So the fear is that he will cancel the election by creating disturbances, which we have been hearing. But again, because of the specific manner in which the Constitution provides for the election to be conducted, it is quite 99% impossible for him to change the vote. The only thing that he can do is blatantly declare a different result, or cancel the election in the hope of doing something by having this later on. So,
all right.
In terms of rigging the vote, the difference is so high that he will not be able to do it in a logical manner.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Fayaz Ismail, for in fact joining us from Mali and giving us your perspective as to what is happening. Now, this, of course, is a very crucial election that is being watched not just within Maldives, because this has international ramifications considering the strategic importance of Maldives.